Oil prices are expected to rise next week after the OPEC announced the biggest cut to oil production since the start of the pandemic. Camille Samonte with the story.
Members of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, or OPEC, and its allies have agreed to cut oil production by 2 million barrels per day. This is equivalent to 2% of the global oil supply, the biggest oil production cut since the pandemic. OPEC's de facto leader, Saudi Arabia, said the cut of 2 million barrels per day was necessary due to rising interest rates in the West and the weaker global economy. This comes despite pleas from the U.S. and other countries to pump more after oil prices spiked due to supply disruptions from the Russia-Ukraine war. In a statement, the White House said that U.S. President Joe Biden was disappointed by the short-sighted decision. In the past months, oil prices have gone down due to decreasing global demand. But because of the oil production cut, petroleum prices are expected to go up once again.
Biglaan po ang desisyon nila ay magbabawas sila ng 2 million barrels per day. Ito'y napakalaki po kumpara doon sa nauna nilang testing noong October na 100,000 barrels lang. So, ito'y inaasahan po natin na magpupos po nung reverse ng trend instead na rollback.
Gasoline prices are expected to go up next week by 1 peso per liter, while a 4 pesos increase is expected for diesel. Kerosene prices are also expected to go up by 2 pesos. Senate President Mig Zubiri has expressed his concern over the cut in oil production, which will likely push commodity prices higher.
That's unfair to non-oil producing countries. Kawawang-kawawa tayo dyan. Sa binanggit po nilang controls of 2 million barrels a day less output, it will affect the prices of fuel, which will again increase our pump prices on a local level. And it will trigger inflationary.
For News 5, Camille Samonte, We Are One News.
Here to discuss what the oil production cut will mean for the Philippines, we have with us on the line Department of Energy Oil Industry Management Bureau Director Rino Abad. Mr. Abad, welcome to the big story.
Good evening, Christian and Robbie. Good evening sa ating mga kababayan po.
Sir, first of all, are we just passive and helpless here in the face of OPEC's plans? How does it work with respect to, it was their decision, countries like the Philippines, gaya nga po ng sinabi ni Senator Mig Zubiri, that's unfair for non-oil exporting countries. But nonetheless, we are in that category. What does that mean? Are we just helpless and taking this, and what options do we actually have?
Well, actually, the component of the OPEC Plus, when we talk about supply, global supply of petroleum products, is around 40%. So that figure would amount to have really an influence on how the price, how the supply would shape up in any decision that this OPEC Plus would actually do. Around 42 million barrels of crude oil per day now being planned to have a cut of around 2 million barrels per day for November. So, well, the issue here is that for the past 2 months, there's a constant increase in supply, and there's at the same time, because of the interest hikes implemented by European Central Bank, the UK, and of course the US, slowly the demand has really gone down, and we end up having this report as of August that there is now actually an oversupply. So that's the definite consideration for OPEC Plus. That's number one. Second, I think OPEC Plus now believes that there is now a real chance of not stopping this demand decline because of the anticipation that U.S. Federal Reserve is saying that they're just cutting off the growth of the economic activity by doing this interest hike. But as far as the other parts of the globe is concerned, I think this is now affecting not only the growth, but really the actual real economy towards the end of the fourth quarter, probably for next year. There's an anticipation, there's an analysis that there could have been the possibility of having a recession is actually real. So these are considerations that are being anticipated by OPEC+. So at the same time, we're also getting this report that Russian oil, which is estimated to be removed as estimated by International Energy Agency to the volume of around 1.5, is actually will not actually happen because of the resiliency of Russian oil to go to other markets like India, China, most of Southeast Asia. So there is really an oversupply that is being expected. There is a real decline in demand. So this is how OPEC is treating the situation.
Given the move of OPEC Plus, sabi nyo nga po hindi na po ito bago. Before they cut supply by 100,000 barrels, now it's 2 million barrels per day. By how big should we expect oil prices to rise, and what should we prepare for, not just in the coming week, but in the coming months?
Yes, Ma'am Richin. Initially, of course, this pronouncement, this much volume would actually result to a reverse of the ongoing trend of decline. Rather, we will be expecting, of course, an increase by next week. But as to the question whether the price increase will be sustained, needs a follow-through from the OPEC Plus, because as of August, they cannot even comply with their quota target by as much as 5.3 million barrels per day of crude oil supply. So even that much, they cannot even comply with that. And now they're talking about adding up a decline of another 2 million. That would mean around 7.2 of non-production on these 23 member countries. But so it will really eat up to their expected revenue. So that's another consideration vis-a-vis the revenue, vis-a-vis the follow-through in the next coming week. So if they can follow through, then we could expect that the price would continue to increase. But if they cannot follow through with that, because they are now down by 5.3 in the first place, and they will be adding up around 2 million more per day, then the price and then the market will actually realize that these are just statements at this point in time.
Sir, last question na lang po. Is it strictly a price matter that we are monitoring and bracing for? It's not necessarily a supply problem. And supply-wise, just keeping it the conversation strictly on supply. What's the situation heading for the rest of the year and towards the end of the year?
Well, ang epekto kasi nung 2 million na pronouncement, in actuality, if they could really implement that, would just erase the oversupply now of around, the estimate of OPEC is around 1.5, the estimate of McKinsey report is around 1.9. So that would just even out the supply-demand balance. But of course, again, the question is, could they follow through with that 2 million? Otherwise, the market will end up realizing that, again, the demand, you cannot stop the decline of the demand because US, Europe, UK are really continuing their interest hike. So this is now a question if OPEC can follow through with the production cut of around 2 million. If they cannot, then we will be expecting that the market will realize that the decline will continue in the demand will continue, but the supply, if the supply cannot follow through, then at least we cannot expect that the price will continue to increase.
Okay, Director Abad, maraming salamat po. That was Oil Industry Management Bureau Director Rino Abad.